we're still trying to connect with Don Wiskin of Xtendobite and talk about what he's been having to deal with trying to bring a decent product to market in the face of so many large corporations who are basically selling junk. And in some cases, okay, we've got Don on the line. Joining us on the line right now is Don Wiskin of Xtendobite, heartdrop.com. And Don, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. It's good to be back.
Well, we've had you on the show before, and of course we talk about your product all the time. You're one of our loyal advertisers about the product. I'm using it myself, and it is making a difference, especially for old people like me. But the reason I wanted to get you on the show today, and we're going to talk about the product a little bit further on, is you were sharing with me that you had recently had a little bit of a kerfuffle, if you will, over one of the variations of your product with the Canadian authorities. You want to share that with us?
Well, sure. In March of this year, our manufacturer, Health Canada, had gone to check in on them. I mean, I don't know if people are aware of this, but we have an NPN number. It's a natural product number that you had to have by December 1st, 2013, in order to continue selling a natural product in Canada. But the NPN number also gives you the right to start making some claims that your product can do things. Well, they were doing some surprise visits now that they have all this power, and they dropped in on our manufacturer. They didn't like his Swedish bitters because it was an alcohol base, and they didn't like his he had a cancer drug that he was making there. They didn't like that, and so they got very upset, and they set his bar very, very high. And then they found the Xtendobite brewing away in the corner, the liquid version. So they came after us and said, well, we're going to put you through a bunch of tests. You're going to do a stop sell until we get that done. So I said, okay, I'll comply. I have no choice. I mean, I want to continue selling this product. So they put us through a whole bunch of tests, and we passed every test. I mean, the Xtendobite liquid and the Xtendobite capsules, they also had us test the capsules, but they didn't stop us from selling that because there's no alcohol in it. So they kept us going and kept us going. We passed all the tests. And then, I figured we'd be back selling it in late June, but no, they just kept asking for this and asking for that, stuff that was outside of our licensing. So finally, in September, I caught on to what they were doing. Well, actually, in late August, I caught on to what they were doing. Myself and the consulting company and one of our manufacturers all got together and we talked about this, and Health Canada had asked me to exceed what I was supposed to do. So I very politely, told them that our product was fine. Everything about it was good to go. We passed all of your tests and all of the tests that we were supposed to have in order to comply with our NPN number. And then I politely asked her to please allow us to continue selling this product. Well, it took her another 2 weeks after that, but I figured it wouldn't happen just overnight because I was being rather rough with somebody who has all the power. So about the second week of September, she sent us an email and said, okay, everything seems fine. You can go ahead and continue to sell it. The stop sale has been lifted. But for, those almost 6 months, I was like sweating it out because we were about to lose our product ability to be able to make it here in Canada. I was looking at moving our company to the States in order to keep doing this because we have lots and lots of people who like that liquid who were buying the capsules, but they wanted the liquid back, and we finally got it back. But this is the power that the NPN gave them. It's like a DIN number in the States. Well, we have a DIN here in Canada, except it's for a natural product. And, once they come into your life, they have all the power. There's nothing you can do. The consulting company I deal with said, you have to do whatever she says. You're at her mercy. And I was like, gosh. But it was quite a spot to be. But we managed to get through it because I didn't give up. I just kept persevering and sending her messages all the time as to, let us continue on. We've done everything that we're supposed to do. And finally it was over and we were back to selling. But during this time, one of the health food stores that carries our product, they had 625 different products all through their same manufacturer, and all 625 were called up for an audit, and they didn't get all 625 back. So we were very, very lucky that we have such a clean product that she couldn't find any complaints anywhere. And I was on a show with a guy out of Ireland a few weeks ago. He started taking our product, and he said when he was looking around, he couldn't find any complaints. And that's 18 years of being in business, and that is phenomenal. You just don't get that.
No, you really don't. The part that really leaps out at me is that you basically have contracted this manufacturer to produce the liquid version of Xtendobite, and the authorities went into his manufacturing plant, and they had issues with some of the products he was making for other people, not you. But while doing that, they said, well, guilt by association, because you're being made in this factory, we're going to put you through this ringer.
That's absolutely right. We were guilty by association. And, you know, I love this guy. He's 74 years old. He finally shut down and retired. We have a new manufacturer, but we're still, you know, on the same manufacturer at this moment. But in a few more months, we have a new manufacturer. He's already been screened. He's been accepted by Health Canada. You know, we had to do that while we were in the middle of all of that. So we're looking good for the future.
Well, that's really good. And again, getting back to the product, and we have talked about it before, it's basically to maintain cardiovascular health and lower cholesterol. And for people of my AGE who are spending way too much time sitting in a chair in front of a computer day after day after day, after a while you start having to look at issues of blood circulation. And this product is really good on that, because I was dealing with some of those issues before, and then you started sending me my Xtendobite, and Claire and I are both now taking it. And it does really seem to be helping to get me back to my normal obnoxious self. I went through a bad period there about a month ago, and this stuff is really starting to help work that out. So, again, getting on back to the ingredients. And unfortunately, the Heart Drop sticker is hiding the bottom one on the list here, but it's hawthorn. This is all natural stuff. This is all from nature. Garlic powder, valerian, which is a combative. That's what they start with to make Valium. They take valerian and they move a molecule around, patent it, and sell it for 5 times as much. Bilberry, ginkgo biloba, and I actually don't see what that bottom one is because of the sticker. What did I miss?
Well, there's cayenne, garlic, hawthorn, valerian, milk thistle, ginkgo biloba, and bilberry.
Yeah, milk thistle is the one that is hidden underneath the sticker here. But again, the important thing to keep in mind is all of this stuff comes from nature. And we have mentioned this before. The mindset of the pharmaceutical industries right now is they don't want anything from nature because it can't be patented. And their route to maximum profits is some kind of a synthetic chemical that they've come up with in the lab, or they've started with something natural and they've changed it enough to qualify for a patent and market exclusivity. And there literally has been a war against any kind of cures or treatments that are available in nature, stuff that you can grow in your own backyard, because if you're growing what you need to keep yourself healthy in your backyard, then they're not making money off of you. And so I'm not at all surprised that there may have been a little bit of an institutional hostility toward this product, and I appreciate the fact that you were talking about moving here to the United States of America. I think were you to do so, you might find the hostility a little bit more open. We're seeing that certainly now with all these states that are trying to decriminalize marijuana. We're even seeing it with the cannabis oil products, which are not intoxicating. It's a separate component of the cannabis away from the intoxicant. And even these products are coming under attack because they can't be patented and monopolized. And the entire medical industrial complex is just driven by and obsessed with maximizing profits, very often to the detriment of the customer and the patient. And so it's one of the reasons why Claire and I, we try and avoid orthodox medicine and doctors as much as we can. And we do turn to things like Xtendobite to try and keep ourselves healthy.
Well, Xtendobite, we've been doing this for 18 years now, and it is amazing how well it works. We just had a call last week from a chelation doctor in the U.S., and he had a patient who started doing really, really well and started getting healthier. For those who don't know what chelation is, it's a formula, an EDTA formula that they introduce intravenously into your body. And back in the 50s, they used it to get the lead out, and they found that it really improved circulation. The blood bank has been using chelation since the 50s to store blood because it keeps the calcium and the cholesterol from binding together so that they can store the blood longer. And that's what it was doing. It was getting the calcium and the metals out of the body. Well, we're doing the same thing. The Xtendobite is a form of oral chelation. It chelates the heavy metals away from your liver, allowing your liver to go back to work and handle the toxins that we're exposed to every day. And there's also great nutrients in there to feed your body the food that we're not getting from our starved diet because there's no nutrients left in the soil with all this industrial farming. Food is basically the next weapon of mass destruction, and it's happening now. People are getting sick all the time. In the early 1900s, when a doctor passed his medical exam, they didn't even study heart because heart attacks weren't something that were prevalent back in the 1910s, let's say. But shortly after that, once they started industrialized farming and getting more industrialized in our world, then yes, we build up these chemicals in our body. We can't get them out, and it takes things like Xtendobite to help remove them and give you back your health.
Well, what's really interesting is I've noticed that as the overall health of Americans continues to decline, and it is in decline, along with our life expectancy, the corporate media and the food companies and pharmaceutical companies are always quick to say, well, it's a lifestyle choice. You're sitting in front of that computer when you should be out walking or swimming, and yes, they're right to an extent. But we've also come to understand that we live in an age literally of a chemical onslaught on our health. And it's not necessarily intentional. It is just allowed to happen for the sake of profitability. And we're seeing more and more chemicals and fillers added to our food in order to stretch it, make it look like we're getting more food. But again, there's no real nutrients in there. And we understand that a lot of these artificial medications that we are being given may carry serious side effects. In fact, one of the things that amazes me, the United States is one of the few countries that allows advertising for prescription medication on TV. And they'll have this big, glitzy, expensive commercial about this wonderful medicine. And then, of course, at the end, there's this very fast-talking individual saying all the bad things that this drug can do, including kill you. And people still go on out to their doctors and say, oh, I want to try this, I want to try this. And I think it's absolutely absurd. And so it's another reason to basically look at natural alternatives to deal with what whatever your issues may happen to be. And it gets back to something that I like to call coevolution. And that is that when you're looking at the back of Xtendobite and you're seeing the ingredients out there, these are all life forms, plants and so forth, that have co-evolved with our biochemistry over millions of years. There are no surprises there. When you ingest these plant products, your body knows exactly what to do with them because they have been dealing with each other biochemically for 1 million or more years. But these synthetic chemicals coming out of the pharmaceutical laboratories, they're brand new, and they may look sort of, kind of, maybe like the natural variety, but they aren't exactly. And your body isn't really sure exactly what to do with them. They'll try and fit them into the appropriate receptors, but there may be something hanging off to one side. And over time, this can sort of build up a degree of toxicity in your body. And it's allowed to happen again because it's all in the name of maximizing profit.
Yes, it is really a shame that the world has come to the love for money. Unfortunately, it's not a love for humans, or it's not a love for our health, and we have to get back to basics. herbs have been used for thousands of years. The whole idea behind Xtendobite is based on, German usage of natural medicines and the herbs that are required, like the garlic, the cayenne, the bilberry, the hawthorn. Those are 4 basic herbs that are really good at giving us help. And then the other things we added, the valerian was there to help calm you while the other herbs are going to work. The milk thistle is the most potent liver rejuvenator known to man since 1995 was when they actually discovered it. And it helps to rejuvenate your liver. And the ginkgo biloba, more oxygen to the heart and brain, but as well the ginkgo is a blood thinner, which helps to keep your blood flowing. And then, we've had a lot of people who were on our product who have had Coumadin or warfarin, as it's commonly known, for blood thinners. They weren't happy. They took our product. Every time they went to have their blood checked, the dosage of the Coumadin got lowered. Usually within 1 year, you're off the Coumadin, the blood thinners, because the ginkgo and the garlic are thinning your blood just enough so that you don't have to take these harmful drugs in order to overcome that.
Well, a couple of interesting stories. First of all, it's certainly in terms of garlic, I mean, that's been known about for thousands of years. I think Hippocrates even mentioned it in some of his writings there. But I remember when I was a kid, I had this book. It was an herbalist's manual from the turn of the previous century. And there was all kinds of stuff in there for common ailments, and it was all stuff you could just go out into the forest and find for yourself. And when I made a donation to this museum that opened up in my hometown, I included this book along with a bunch of other stuff, and I regretted it. And then much to my delight, not too long ago, I discovered there had been a reprint. People are still interested in this, and I was sent a copy of the reprinted version, which I now have, and no, you may not have it because I'm using it. But again, this stuff has been known about for a long time, but the Orthodox medical establishment wants you to forget all about it. They want to forget about all the things that are just growing out of the ground around your home that will make you feel better and help you deal with these very common ailments that we're all subject to, especially as we get older, because the goal is to get you dependent on their product coming on out of the pharmacies. And now, of course, we've got this huge scandal where the executives of a big pharmaceutical company that specializes in synthetic opioids, fentanyls, has now been arrested for literally bribing doctors to prescribe these highly addictive medications to patients as opposed to non-addictive alternatives that would have worked just as well. So you have to go on in and realizing that the Orthodox medical establishment, it really is all about the money. And they're not that concerned with curing you. In fact, they don't want to cure you. If they cure you, you go away. They never see you again. It's all about getting you chronically ill and then treating you for that chronic illness for the rest of your life and just making huge amounts of money. And we have seen in this country attempts to ban things like nanosilver, attempts to make vitamins a prescription-only medication, attempts to ban valerian root to prop up sales of Valium. And you really need to understand that you need to look at the motives of the medical establishment, that it's not really about making you healthy or feeling any better.
No, it really isn't. And, you just get healthy by luck when you're following that route. But, just imagine if you had a company making pharmaceuticals and over 50% of North Americans have some form of chronic ailment, so 336 million. So imagine if you had 150 million people giving you $100 a month.
That's a lot of money.
How powerful would your company be?
All right,
well,
Don.
That's where we're at.
Don, we got to take a break for commercials. Stay on the line, please. And when we come on back, I think John Stadmiller has something he wants to share with you. We'll be right back. Aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. And apparently we have a listener who called on in and said, maybe we ought to send some Xtendobite to President Trump because he's currently on statins. Might help ease things up a little bit. So we're talking with Don Wiskin of Xtendobite, and I understand John Stadmiller is also on the line?
I certainly am. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing fine here. Well, Don, take it away.
Hey, Don, how you doing?
Very well, John.
I was going to get you on my program today for a little interview, but you know what? I'm going to postpone you to next week. And Michael, I am pleased to no end that you and Claire are on this product, because I can tell you something right now. It has helped me immensely. I mean, it really has. I had problems with leg circulation, the old gastrocnemius at night, tightening up. That's blood circulation.
Yes.
I've been taking his product, and I couldn't be finer if I was frog hair in Carolina right now. I mean, it's good stuff, and I would encourage, if you're listeners to your program, you have actually, maybe I shouldn't make this admission on air, but you actually have better numbers on my network than I do. So the ones that don't carry over to my show that are listening to you right now, if you've thought about doing this, quit thinking about it. Just do it. You will never be sorry. I mean, it's not that expensive, and the health benefits are absolutely fantastic. And you and Claire, Mike, stay on this, because we got to keep you around. We got to keep you healthy. Got to keep that old brain synapsing. And your program every day, it's a real joy. I'm now listening to it, the full show every day, which I hardly do that to any talk show host on this network.
Oh, well, my goodness, I'm flattered. I'm blushing if you're watching on BAM User here. The really good thing about Xtendobite, of course, is that when we run our commercials, we don't have to have that high-pitched, rapid voice saying, use of this medication may lead to whatever it is it's going to do. There are no disclaimers necessary, because again, this is all natural. It's all from nature. It's been part of the biosphere of Earth for millions of years, and we're just taking advantage of what's already out there.
We're not replicating this stuff in a drug laboratory. As at one time there was holistic medicines, and that was it. They duplicated everything in a lab, but there's something you can't duplicate. If you use natural ingredients, why would you have to duplicate it chemically and through a lab? This product is great. And Don, keep cutting those commercials, because you got a fine radio voice.
Well, thank you very much, John, and thanks for coming on and sharing your experiences. I know you didn't mention your memory there at all, but that's
sorry,
okay
what
too,
were we
because
talking
there's a lot
about?
of people out there with
Yeah,
there's a lot of people out there with memory.
Keep the old synapses going. You don't lose the memory, you just lose the pathway to it. So, Mike, thanks for letting me jump in there for a minute.
My pleasure, and thank you for spending time with Don and I, and we're almost to the end of this segment again. Don, what's about the future? Is there going to be like a new improved product? Are you planning any new directions to take what is obviously a successful formula?
No,
Okay.
I just continue to market and continue to get it out there. This product has proven itself time and time again anecdotally. People who are taking it are getting benefits. People who buy it and don't take it, well, they don't get any benefits. And as for side effects, let's see, what can I say? More energy, good health, boosted immune system, less colds and flus. No need to get a flu shot if you're taking this. And that's a good thing, because no mercury or thimerosal. And there's just nothing I can do to improve what God has already put out there for us.
Well, that's a very, very good sentiment. We actually have a caller on the line, Glenn from Roanoke. Do you have a real quick question for Don, because we're almost out of time?
Yeah, I'll be as quick as I can. Prior to taking it, I had diabetic neuropathy. The Xtendobite reduced that significantly. Acid reflux was reduced. I had athlete's foot, very severe. Trimmed that down to about 75%. Dandruff, it's almost completely gone. I had occipital neuralgia at the base of my skull. I was having migraines, reduced by about 90%. Heart palpitations, my heart would kind of stall out, like I would skip a beat. Very uncomfortable. And when walking from downstairs going to sleep, by the time I got to the bedroom, which is just one flight of stairs, my heart was pounding, coming out of my chest. My vision was blurry. This completely solved that problem. Great product. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the phone call, Glenn. And Don, do you want to stay over into the next segment?
If you've got other things to do, you go right ahead.
All right. Well, Don, thank you very much for spending time with us, and we'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it. even when you call.